Welcome to the Raynin Threes podcast with Alan Ray and Mike O'Connell.
Hello and welcome to the 14th installment of Raynin Threes. I am your host, Mike O'Connell, here with my friend and co-host, the Nova Hoops legend, Alan Ray. A-Ray and I have another special guest for you guys tonight, four-time Sports Emmy Award winner and one of the greatest sports commentators of all time, the Governor, Bill Raftery.
Yes. Great to have you on the show today. I'm excited, and I can't wait, just to prick your brain and learn a lot from you today.
Well, there's not much in that brain, Alan. Jay told you that. It's all bluster kind of. But always great to hear your voice and bring back so many great memories of your days as a Wildcat.
Yeah. So it's just funny just to be able to sit here and talk to you, knowing, like you've called some of my games before, and, we've obviously met in the past. So it's just great having you here, just like one of my friends.
Well, it's nice to hear. Of course, you had some pretty good friends when you were playing with Villanova.
Yeah, I did.
Randy and Kyle. I mean, what a group. Even Nardi too, right? At one time.
Yeah. I was with Nardi.
Now, Dante Cunningham, what year was he when you were in school?
Dante came, I want to say, 06.
Okay, because he got better and better, that kid.
Yeah, he did.
Remember, he couldn't make a jumper. By the time his senior year came, he was drafted,
You couldn't leave him open.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, but he always had a strong body, was real athletic. Like, I was jealous when he took off his shirt in the locker room. Like, that's the kind of body he had.
Well, listen, Jay should be sending you guys checks for all the, you started it for him. So.
Yeah, every time I talk to Coach Wright, he says the same thing. Like, literally every time we talk, text, A-Ray, you started all of this, my man. I'll never forget. He says it every single time. Never forgets.
You were really lucky in a lot of ways, Great teammates and just a special guy on the bench, too, as you well know.
Yeah, I was just lucky to be recruited by him. And it was just something special about him compared to the other coaches I was getting recruited with. And you hear this all the time about guys who sign with Villanova and they talk about family. Like, that's how they make you feel. Like, Coach Wright made me feel like I knew him for years. Like, the coaching staff, I felt like I knew them for years, and it was an easy decision for me to just choose Villanova.
It's just interesting how fast the 20 years went by, though. My God, just amazing what you guys were able to accomplish. And there's always a foundation, and you guys were the foundation.
Yeah, definitely. So let me ask you, what do you think about the Big East this year? A lot of good teams, a lot of coaching moves, NIL. I think it's going to be a pretty hectic season. What do you think?
Well, I'm glad I'm doing the TV and not coaching in that league. I'll tell you that. I mean, I was up in Providence the other day, and there's probably 6 to 7 teams that could make the NCAA tournament. That's how deep they are. Providence would be in the mix in the latter stages. Obviously your Wildcats up front. But just, no matter where you turn, whether it's Marquette or Creighton or UConn, you start Pitino at St. John's, everybody is good. I think there's one of these crazy years where there'll be 5 losses for the regular season winner. And people shouldn't be shocked. I think the biggest thing this year, for players and coaches is resiliency. You're going to have a hard loss on the road and come back and play somebody really good at home. And you just ought to have a chance to recoup if you're not mentally strong. And I think that's the area that I think you have to develop as a coaching staff with your players. Like, it's history, it's over. Now tonight we've got so-and-so, we got to go out and perform. It's just, it's going to be a challenge, no question about it.
Coach Raff, obviously we have some star power back in the Big East, and you talk about coaching the Big East. So, Three different coaches are taking on their programs in their first year. Obviously, Rick Pitino has been around the block, but him with St. John's, Ed Cooley now at Georgetown, Kim English with Providence. Where do you see those three programs shaping up this year, and who do you think you give the edge to in terms of finishing toward the top of the standings?
Well, I think Ed Cooley has the biggest mountain to climb. Bringing in a lot of new kids and really not being able to rely on some kids that were there that would be impact players. The couple of kids were there, like Mutombo's son is there, but not necessarily an impact player. He's brought in some pretty good kids, though. The Epps kid, I watched him at Illinois. Heath has been there, good player at Arizona State. He's been around a little bit. But I think that group, it'll be a challenge, I think, in a lot of ways. And just like we were talking with Alan a moment ago, this is the start. Whatever his kids can do as a foundation, how they're going to build to the future. I think the one kid I read a little bit about is Supreme Cook, that he brought in as a young kid. But as we all know, you've got to be pretty tough mentally and have some ability in this league if you're going to survive. St. John's, he's redone the cast, basically. 10 or 11 new guys. Soriano being back certainly helps, who really had a heck of a year last year and lost weight and cut up and down. But a lot of these two kids I don't know. I was planning to go over there tomorrow, hopefully, and if not, I'll go next week to take a good look at them. But, Rick's Rick. He's got experienced kids. He took a couple from Iona with him. He's got some new kids coming in that people are raving about. Then, of course, Kim English, he's got Hopkins and Carter to rely on, two talented kids at Providence that, he's surrounding his first year with. So I would say, looking at it from a distance without any games, that of the three, I think St. John's has more of an opportunity to make a splash. Providence second, maybe Georgetown third in that respect.
Yeah, I feel like Georgetown, they do have their work cut out for them. Just basically from everything that's going on with the whole coaching change. But I think it's a really good move. A lot of people didn't understand why Cooley made that move. But in my opinion, if you can get the stronghold in Georgetown, he can kind of take control of that area and get kids wanting to come back to that school. Because, you go visit that school, the campus is great. It looks great. It's a lot of basketball tradition. So I could see him trying to get that program back up to elite level. But I agree with you. It's going to take some time. I think maybe a couple years. I'd be surprised if they're really good this year. And with St. John's, Rick Pitino, one thing about Rick Pitino, he's going to get his team to play. These guys are going to play hard, and they're going to play for 40 minutes. That's a team that I wouldn't want to see in a tournament or later on down the road in the Big East tournament, because I know that they're going to be playing real well. And another thing, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Another thing that you brought up about mental toughness in the Big East, I think that's overlooked a lot. Never really get to hear people say that about a conference. You really do have to be mentally tough in that conference. Like you said, the best team in the league this year could have 4 or 5 losses. So you got to be able to roll with the punches in this league, if that makes sense.
No question about it. And I just think about St. John's getting the 2 Ivy League kids. So, let alone the kid from, I believe, the Harvard kid, and Dingle, kid that, had a great reputation coming out of Penn. So he's blending in some of his kids from Iona with a couple of transfers, player of the years, all Ivy. And the other thing, whenever we get talking, we always leave somebody out. I know it's not a new coach, but we all forget Connecticut won the NCAA championship last year.
Well, I'm a Villanova fan, so I just don't talk about it. I remember, I just don't talk about it.
I don't blame you. But they're not going away either. So, every night's going to be a war, no question about it.
Marquette and Shaka Smart.
Yeah, and they won the league last year. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have them in the top 5 in the country. Alan, I did get down to Villanova last week, and I got to see a morning practice. Did Jay do that with you? Those really early morning jobs?
Yeah. What's early?
This one wasn't too early. It was 7:30.
Yeah,
I think he's had like 6:30 or 7, right? Wasn't he? Something like that.
Yeah, we used to have 6 o'clock practices sometimes, just to like test our mental. Just to see how we come out early in the morning. Are we gonna practice hard? Like, what's the mentality? What's the mental? And gets the young guys, kind of get them into the groove of like, this is what it's gonna be like. This is serious program. We trying to win here.
Right. But I enjoyed the workout. Again, Kyle was, I thought he was comfortable last year, but you can see now, he's assumed he's in a good position mentally, I think, as to what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
People not looking over his shoulder. He's the guy. And, he brought in a couple of I think, first of all, I think Armstrong's going to have a much better year.
I love that kid.
The kids can speak, can break it down. I had the Bamba kid at Washington State. He's a real nice addition, really talented kid, can put some numbers up. They got the kid from Richmond, Burton, who'll probably see some time. But they it's Ware is another guy from kid Lance Ware. He's from Camden, but he played at Kentucky.
Yeah.
I think that gives them a different look where Dixon could be, a power forward. He could slide in. This sounds crazy for guys who could play like you could. He's actually a great screener, and he rolls well, and he's a great teammate. He doesn't need the ball, but I think the key guy is Hart, the kid from Maryland.
Yeah,
he makes open shots. As we all know, you only get X amount of game, and Hakeem is one of those kids. He's back at home, had a nice run at Maryland.
Yeah,
so he's going to be a really nice addition for them.
I'm glad you said that, because one of the concerns that you hear from people about Hakeem Hart is his inconsistency to shoot. So it's good to hear you say, that he's a knockdown shooter, a good shooter, and that you've seen that in practice. So I'm really, really good, really happy to see that. I have a question for you also. When it comes to TJ Bamba, this was also brought to my concern. Playing in the conference, he was in the Pac-12, right?
Correct, Washington State.
Yeah, so Pac-12 compared to Big East, do you think he can translate? Because the basketball is obviously different.
That's a good question. First of all, he has no choice.
True. True.
He better adjust. He was a tough kid on a not a great basketball team, and a lot was asked of him. Fitting in and the demands of this level and transferring. So he'll have to acclimate, no question about it. It is a thought, but they're not asking him to come in and be more.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to have to shoulder the whole offensive end of the game. But, I think he'll be a contributor. It gives them a little more depth. At 6'5", he's a guard, wing kind of a kid. So, it'll be a challenge, because there are nights off. There were nights off in the Pac-12. Some of the venues in the league here will be a little more of a disadvantage in terms of you coming in. You won't be a welcome sight, whether it's Marquette or Creighton or Providence.
Even Butler.
Butler has always been a tough place for Villanova. Whether they won the national championship or not. Butler is just a great building, as you well know.
Yeah, no, most definitely. It's going to be a gauntlet all year long, no nights off, and that is a bit of a difference between Pac-12 play other conferences around the nation. And the Big East, I think, top to bottom, you could argue is the most solid heading into the future. And dealing with conference realignment and everything, a lot of these different conferences are more football focused. But when it comes to the premier basketball conference, everybody says the Big East is that. And I think it's a beautiful thing to see that Coach Neptune has stepped his game up when it comes to his recruiting style. He got the 4 transfers, which everybody's excited about. We just discussed all 4 of those guys and how great they can be and how great they already have been at their own their own previous schools, but it's an exciting time to be a Big East basketball fan. And I want to hear your predictions, Raf. Can you give us the number 1, 2, 3 spots?
I'm the worst. I will say this though. Just imagine the scheduling. You're at Creighton, and you end up getting bopped, and you come home, and you get Xavier, and then you go to UConn, 3 games in a row. You throw in St. John's in the mix, or okay, we get a breather. We're going to Providence. It's just absolutely insane. Marquette the same, but everybody's got to play the same schedule, and that's why I think there'll be, as I mentioned earlier, 5 or 6 losses potentially, if that's possible, for a champion. At least 5 anyhow. But nobody's going away. The better teams are. Villanova's never gone away. I mean, they were accustomed to success for many, many years, and the UConn back in the league is accustomed to grandeur. So I just, in terms of 1 through 7, I mean, I have no clue who's going to win it. Marquette won it, so they're the team to pick until somebody else steps up.
Yeah, I really do like Marquette. Marquette has been a favorite for me in the Big East, even over UConn. But I think UConn is going to be a pretty good team as well this year. Like you said, it's just going to be a gauntlet. Every night, you're going to have a tough game. I mean, I don't even know if you could say it's an easy win against like DePaul, Georgetown this year. I mean, we don't know yet.
What's interesting about Marquette is they have 2 great passers in the starting lineup. One's a center, one's a guard. Not too many teams can say that. Kolick runs the show, and Osadero is just as a 5-man, a really interesting matchup for, say, a guy like Dixon.
Yeah.
He plays the high post. He can dribble. He can find some people.
He's a great passer.
Yeah. I mean, he really
great passer.
Then on the wing, they got Jones who can knock some shots down. So, it's a lot of preparation for this level of competition every single day. I mean, you got to be together. And again, we get back to that resiliency and having an attitude. Okay, we stepped on a banana peel last night. That's not going to happen again. Attitude.
Marquette really scares me. Like, one of the things that I like about Marquette is it seems like you listen to anybody get interviewed, whether it's Tyler, whether it's Shaka Smart, like they all have this chip on their shoulder. They was the best team in the league last year, but if you listen to them this year, it sounds like they talk like they were the last place team last year. Like they have so much to prove. So that Marquette team scares me. And Shaka Smart, he's a really good coach. Mike Nardi's gonna kill me for sitting here talking about Shaka Smart like this. I'm gonna get a text message, but I mean it's the truth.
Yeah, it's no question about it. It's a high-powered league with excellent coaches, and just the mental toughness aspect always jumps into it. So it's a long way from the beginning to the end. But more importantly, I think, is how these teams play in November and December is going to decide if you're going to get in the tournament. So they got to make hay in that time when they're either in the Bahamas or any preseason Maui tournament or things of that nature. You got to get some power conference wins.
Why do you say that those first 2 months are really important?
Well, those games are weighed the same way as your season, as your league. If you have a loss like November 6th, say, that counts the same as a loss against St. John's in February.
True.
So, when you're talking about the net and preparing, let's just say you've got a really good team. You go 500 in this conference this year. Just 500, right?
Yeah.
And you can chalk up wins against Illinois or UCLA. Villanova plays UCLA. It's a good example. That's a big game for power, strength of schedule aspect. So I think you really got to do well then, just to prepare yourself for the bumps you're going to get in your conference.
That makes sense.
Absolutely. And that's, A-Ray, we talk about all the time, the importance of scheduling in the non-conference and getting into the battle for Atlantis in the Bahamas, getting those Gavitt games under your belt and coming away with some hard-fought victories is certainly key. And Coach Raft, just to go back to your days at LaSalle, I know you're a proud explorer.
Jeez. So I tell my wife never bring up the past. Yeah, great. We had a room by name.
Oh my God. It's all right, Raph. You're a legend, man. You are a legend, so don't even worry about it.
Yeah, come on. But
I think I'll go out and get a cocktail after that comment.
well, Raph, do you know the 8 Catholic schools to win a national championship? I know that's a fun little trivia question that I actually do know, and I like to ask people.
Loyola would be one, obviously.
Yeah, that's right.
Villanova. Oh, you're killing me. Marquette.
Yep.
3. How many you say?
8.
8. Wow. 8.
You got LaSalle in there, obviously.
Who?
LaSalle.
So you're all
Oh yeah. That was. That's so long ago. It was before me. I told this story in New York. They honored the Lapchick Award they gave to Jim Nance about a week ago, 2 weeks now. And Joe Mahalik, the LaSalle assistant, whose dad was a professor at LaSalle, and he taught psychology, Alan, and every dummy in the Big Five was in his class because they couldn't pass it at their different schools. And I was one of them too. And all we wanted was a hook, a C. So, but anyway, getting back to the point, before me, a lot of young guys came in. They always said they're going to, this guy's going to make them forget Tom Gola. And I was one of those guys. They said, Raftery's going to make them forget Tom Gola, who was an All-American. He's in the Hall of Fame too. And I said, 4 years later, all they wanted to do at LaSalle was forget about me. So that's sort of my history there. No, I loved it. The best player we had was Frankie Chorus, I think. We had some good players, but Frankie was the best of our group. And the best we could do was get the NIT my senior year, I think. Maybe sophomore and senior, I forget. But at any rate, I enjoyed it. Duty Moore was our coach, who was well regarded. That's one of the reasons I went there. He had won national acclaim as the Duquesne coach with a lot of New Yorkers, Sayugo Green, the Ricketts brothers, really good players, and came into Philly and all those big names, Kraft and Severance would be one, and Litwack and Ramsey. It was just a different world for him coming from Pittsburgh, where he was the king, coming into this sort of great bastion of college basketball.
Let me ask you, how did any experiences on the court shape your sports commentary? Like,
Alan, it's interesting you bring that up. Our senior year, we were going to be the game. CBS had us against St. Louis. It was the first round game of the NIT. And Bob Wolf, who's also in the Hall of Fame, four-trick Hall of Fame announcer, baseball mostly, but he did every sport. He was visiting, and our coach said, I want you to have dinner with him. So after practice, I had dinner with him. And when he left, he said, whenever you finish playing or whatever you're doing, you should think about a career in broadcasting. And that stuck with me throughout my coaching career, what he said. And so when the Big East was formed, the first couple of years, we just weren't up to par with the team. Villanova came in my third year. They were coming in my third year, I think. No, excuse me, second year they came in. They had been in that I forget the name of the conference, but at Penn State, West Virginia, they were playing Rutgers, teams like that. But, the change of the guard in the Big East, where programs were investing money, facilities, support system, and we just weren't up to snuff. So the beginning of my 11th year, we had practiced 2 weeks, and Dave Gavitt called. He had been doing the color analysis of the league, believe it or not, as commissioner.
Oh, wow.
He said, if you would like to do it, you've got 2 days to let me know, because I don't want to open this up and be interviewing a bunch of people.
Yeah.
So in 2 days, I left. I left a nice group of kids. It was hard. They started out 9-0. They beat Houston and they beat Notre Dame, and 3 kids were declared ineligible. And the fellow before that took over for me was let go, and then P.J. Carlesimo took over, and the rest is history, getting them to the Final Four in '89. But it was all, Dave Gavitt driven, where they got Seton Hall to get them mentally attuned to what everybody else was doing in the league in terms of finances.
Yeah. That's really interesting, and I asked that question because I kind of find myself in this boat now where I'm like kind of getting to sports media a little bit through social media, and it's been bringing me a few opportunities. So just kind of wanted to ask, do you have like any advice like for someone like me moving forward?
Well, you never know what doors will open to you. I just think being active is a key to anything. Being, I guess proactive is a better word.
Yeah.
Whether it's, doing local games or local shows or pre and post game shows, whether the Hawks have something there or knowing somebody and making a phone call. I think being persistent is another area too, because you never know where, God's going to direct you, or who's going to think that you're of value to them, or you can do the job that they would like you to do.
Yeah.
So, it's very hard to give somebody advice if they're not driven.
True.
And I think you have to have that drive, just as you would as a player. That this is something I'd like to do. I'm going to work at getting better at it, and doors will open. But I think the persistency is really the key, I think.
Yeah. Like I ask myself sometimes, like I know how much I love basketball, so it's like, do I love something else that much?
Right. There are so many jobs too in front offices that you overlook. They're not necessarily in the media end, but the media end is a way of getting into that area.
Mm-hmm.
Assistants, GMs, and player personnel, scouting, college guys. There's so many guys that start out as they really aren't players or coaches, but they end up doing the TV or the film study and prep and everything else. Frank Vogel comes to mind, who's had a long run in the NBA. He was a student manager under Calipari. But there's a few other guys that are like that end up as head coaches, but some of them end up as administrators.
Yeah. Well, thanks. I definitely appreciate that advice and you dropping jewels, and hopefully not just me, but people that are listening.
I was never going to drop a dime, but jewels.
So you was a scorer.
I gave it up, I guess, when I had to. It was either that or a jump ball,
Yeah. Coach Wright had to pull me to the side to tell me to pass. He's like, A-Ray, there's a couple guys open on that shot. I don't want you to stop being aggressive, but just know that you had some other passes.
In a good way of suggesting it, right?
Yeah.
Coach Raff, I don't know if you remember back in 2005, though, against Carolina in the Sweet 16, Allen had an and one, or at least that we thought that the tie the game against Carolina in the final minute. Refs called a travel. You were calling that game, and Nova ended up losing to Carolina, the eventual national champions. Do you have any thoughts on what that travel call meant and what you believe that it was?
Why'd you wait this long to bring that up?
Coach,
You know,
it's playing in my background right now. If you see that right there, that this game is the game right at 2005.
Hey, Alan, was that your senior year or no?
That was my junior year.
Okay, do you remember the mania the next year when Jay brought me back?
Yeah, at Hoops Mania.
Yeah. Do you remember when he wanted everybody not to be mad at me?
Mm-hmm.
The Villanova family. And I don't know if you remember, but he kept coming over. Well, you wouldn't have seen this, but, what are you going to do? What are you going to say? Well, he's like, I'm in the back by the old trainer's room.
Yeah.
I said, don't worry about it. Don't worry. So I got an old referee shirt from somebody.
I
don't know if you remember that.
I do remember it.
Then I got a pair of sunglasses, and then I got a stick, and I imitated that. I had difficulty seeing things, and I came out like staggered out. Do you vaguely remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And they booed me. I had a buddy of mine. They said things to me that you couldn't believe, and the buddy of mine had a ball. He loved every minute of it. No good, bump. But yeah, that was tough on you, and a lot of people jumped all over me. But that's when you do what we do, everybody's not going to agree with you. And really, the play was, if it was close, it shouldn't have been called. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or at least
in retrospect, but it is what it is. It turned out pretty well for you guys, and Jay still talks to me, so I'm okay.
Yeah, and I mean, you didn't make the call, so I'm not mad at you.
That's the funny part, but
but everybody acts like you did make the call.
Yeah. But the next couple of years at the Big East tournament, like I'd walk from the hotel to the games, I would get my butt ripped by Villanova.
Oh yeah, Villanova fans will do that.
Watch yourself walking across the street,
Well, Coach, I think you made up for it, especially in 2016 with your call of Chris Jenkins' shot with onions, double order, saute.
That play was so close to us, where our announce position. I couldn't hear Arch, which I found that apparently he had asked, later.
Right.
On the handoff. But anyhow, pretty exciting time.
Honestly, was that the best in-game moment for you? Like, up close personal seeing that shot, that has to be top 3 for you in-game moment. That was an unbelievable moment.
Yeah, it really, to be part of that. And of course, Nance has the call, and Grant Hill alongside me. It was, not being, favoring one team or another, but when kids step up like that, that's really the original origin of onions. When you're able to, reach back and accomplish what people might consider something that you would normally be able to do under these circumstances. So, that was pretty special. Yeah. Particularly after the Page kid made the shot at the other end. Remember?
Right. Yeah.
Double clutch.
That was like a big time. Yeah, double clutch. You're right.
My heart sank when that went in. My heart sank, and I was like,
yeah. But that even added to the moment,
Yeah, it was a special moment. I was in Italy at the time. I was in Florence. Me and my wife, she was on the bed sleeping. It's like 3 a.m, 4 a.m, maybe, because of the time difference. And he hits that shot, and like I'm on the bed jumping up and down. I was ecstatic.
Right.
The best part about the Page shot too, Coach, was when they showed Michael Jordan and his celebration and thinking like, "Oh, we got this. This is going to overtime. Carolina's going to win it." And you're like, "Oh, there's the kid, Jordan." Oh, it's so great.
And Rollie was there behind the bench.
That's right. That's
right.
And Mike Fratello was next to him, as I recall. But pretty exciting days. Villanova was one of the top, obviously, basketball of the decade, maybe, right? What do you think of it?
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Wright, the dominance that started with Allen, Kyle, Mike, Randy, and continued on throughout, hopefully into the Neptune era. And, this year is going to be a big test for the program, see if they can withstand the transfer portal, the NIL, and all of that. So it's going to be fun to watch. And we really appreciate you coming on with us, Coach Raft. And just a couple more questions for you. Favorite restaurant, Serenade or Evo Italian?
How about that? Well, I like them both. Of course, Dioro here is another one we go to quite a bit.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, and any place where they have a dispenser of liquid is usually one of those more highly rated than others. But yeah, Evo down in Florida and up here, there's quite a few up this way. But you mentioned some good ones, no question about it.
But is the pasta, is it al dente?
See, I'm not as al dente as Rollie. Rollie was like
Because he's true Italian.
Oh yeah, he wants the al dente. And then we were in his house one night, and they had the pasta steaming, and they let it drain in the sink, and somebody put cold water on it.
Mm-hmm.
And he hollered, "You shocked my pasta." He took personal offense to it. It was like crazy.
But the cold water is supposed to stop it from cooking.
Well, he didn't like that at all, though.
I lived in Italy for 7 years, so I like my pasta al dente.
If you give me
my noodles, or if you give me my pasta overcooked, you can send it back. I don't want it.
And one last thing, Coach. I remember this was from a family friend of mine. She played high school basketball at St. Elizabeth's in New Jersey with your daughter, Christy. And her name was Jane Schelling, and she was a bit of a ball hog, and that's what you called her. I remember sitting on the sideline watching the game. So it was just a funny story. Yes.
It's all right. I apologize. Just pulled it for my daughter.
She admits it though. She totally was a ball hog, though. That's the best part about it. So all
you get it up, huh?
No, did not give it up. Kind of like A-Ray.
But you've done well, Alan and Michael. Good for you guys. That's great.
Thank you.
Some great memories here.
Thank you, definitely for coming on. Where can we see you commentating this year? Are you going to be commentating this year?
Yeah, the first week of the Gavitt games.
Okay.
Monday, where'd I get my Monday? I've got Michigan St. John's. Tuesday, I've got Wisconsin at Providence. Wednesday, I've got Georgetown at Rutgers. And then Friday, a really good one for you two, Maryland at Villanova.
Yeah, that'll be good.
So that's a big week. That's a really good test. Maryland stuff. It'd be a good, trying to figure out where you are game.
I'm just waiting for that tip off and to hear you say, man.
There it is.
God bless, guys. Thank you for having me. And good luck. We'll see you along the way, hopefully.
Definitely will. Thank you, Coach.
If I could ever help you, Alan, with anything, just give me a call.
All right. Definitely will.
Okay, now, good luck with everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Coach. Really appreciate you.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
All right. Bill Raftery, ladies and gentlemen. How about that? Coach Raff, A-Ray.
That was legendary right there, just having him on the show. Seriously was. Definitely happy about that. Drop some jewels too. I hope if somebody is like trying to pursue a career in like media, something like that, and they listen to this, I hope that it brings them value and like can motivate them, because it kind of motivated me a little bit too. Because like I said, I still haven't figured this out of exactly what I want to do, but I do have some, like, been getting some opportunities and stuff like that. So I don't know, just kind of playing it by ear right now.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that you asked him that, because it's funny. A lot of people are in those type of position where they're so passionate about both, the game of basketball, whether it's football, any sport really. But a lot of times it's like, oh, I don't know if I trust myself, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to believe in myself. I don't know if I can really take it to the next level and be as good as I hope I can be, or as good as I want to be. And the beauty of the first step is just believing in yourself. And A-Ray, I think us doing this together is a great way for the both of us to really just have some fun and experiment a little bit, right? Like learn what we're good at, practice on different things, and just can kind of continue to develop our skills, interview skills, no matter what it is. Analysis, and having Coach Rapp on the show is just an amazing experience, and it just goes to show you that the Big East basketball, Villanova basketball, it really is a community, and we'll have each other's backs. And I remember when I reached out to Raff at first, A-Ray, he was actually he was funny. He was saying that my email went straight to his junk file.
Yeah.
So it was in his junk, and he didn't get it until a month after the fact. And he reached out to me via text and was saying, he apologized, no offense. And I thought it was great. And I jumped on the phone with him, and he's like, how's Alan doing? Is he doing, how long have you guys been doing this? And he was curious about the show, and he wanted to hop on, and obviously we made it happen. And it's just really a ton of fun. And it's just the beginning, A-Ray, right? We keep talking about that. Once the season gets started, it's going to be taking off.
And just like piggyback off what you said, like, I don't know, like for me, I don't know how you feel, but I'm still not like comfortable, I'm not going to say was as nervous as I was when I first started. And also piggyback off a point you said about just taking that first step. Like I didn't know if I wanted to do this right away, because I was kind of nervous about it, but the more I do it, the better I feel. You know what I mean? Like being with you, helping me also makes me feel good too, makes me feel a little comfortable. So it's definitely trending in the right direction right now. But I'm definitely happy about it, and just being able to talk to some of these people that's been on the show already. Like you never know how their personality is going to be. And then when you hop on with them and you start talking and getting a conversation, like I feel like I could talk to them all day. But I know we gotta cut it short sometimes.
No, that's the thing, man. We could really keep going, and Coach Rapp was kind enough to give us, close to 40 minutes or so, and we really took advantage. And we got to pick his brain, and he definitely seemed like he enjoyed it. Was able to talk not just Villanova, not just Big East, but some really fond memories that he had. We talked 05, which I know we had to get on, and he had a great response. Handled the class as usual. Yep. 2016, I thought was a trip down memory lane, and that story about you jumping on the bed, but when you were playing back in Italy, it's just it really is unbelievable to look at the last 20 years, some of which I don't even remember. I was too young to remember. Mm-hmm. But Raph, you, and just the program itself, Coach Wright, it's really an incredible thing to see how far we come and where we are now in terms of this upcoming season, because it could be. I think it would be a massive success for the Big East. And, A-Ray, we talk all the time about, all right, what's next with the program? Can we withstand the transfer portal, NIL situation? Are we going to be able to recruit with these other top NIL programs where they're shelling out cash to these high school players? Hey, not a bad start to the class of 2024 with Matthew Hodge. Now, Malcolm Thomas just commits earlier today, and we're looking at Josiah Mosley as well. So, I have absolute faith in this coaching staff and in the program to get things done. We've talked about it. Just stay patient, keep believing. And Villanova fans are not the most patient group. And I'm not trying to blame anybody, but hey, look, right? This is what happens when you just wait, you have faith, and you sit back and relax. And I think it's going to be exciting. Next few weeks, getting these guys hyped up. We have Hoops Mania coming up. Blue and white scrimmage is happening in about an hour and a half. It's going down, man. And this is all coming together right at the perfect time. And A-Ray, we had a couple great former players on. We had Seth Greenberg, Bill Raftery. It's all, everything is proceeding as we have foreseen, A-Ray, and this is a phenomenal time to be alive.
Definitely, man. Happy about it. What I was gonna say, Colin and Jermaine coming on the show, that was great. I think that was big for Villanova, just having those guys on there, and Raf and Seth Greenberg. We got another special guest coming on too. Got another question I need to ask him too. I'm not going
right.
not going to spoil it right now, but yeah, I mean, I think we trending in the right direction. When the season starts, it's going to be plenty to talk about. Be much more engaged, and I feel like we might need to do some Twitter Spaces too.
Yeah, most definitely. I was able to hop on with Fanta in the Big East preview once the schedule dropped, which was fun. But we'll definitely get that cranked up as well. I know the Full 40, they're doing their thing.
Yeah.
Shout out to those guys. They're back in a big way. My guy Trevor just joined the crew. I'm so excited to see what they put out content-wise this season as well.
State of Nova Nation pod.
Yeah, I mean, those guys, Pat and Emma, they're great. They're the two people I graduated with in 2020, so shout out to them as well.
Oh, you graduated with them?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Emma Houghton, Pat Zhang. I took a couple classes with the two of them with Professor Michael Bradley, and he follows us on Twitter, so hopefully he's out there listening. I know he's probably all tuned up about the Phillies, so we'll leave him to that. And the thing is,
speaking of baseball, Emma's a Red Sox fan.
Yeah, I know, sickening.
Y'all friends?
We used to be until I found that out. Nah, man, but he, Coach Rapp was so great, and I appreciated all of his kind words at the end there. That was cool to hear, because I think he knows that we're not in this just this ain't a hobby, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're taking this seriously. This is something we want to do, and we're trending in the right direction, like you said. I think similar trajectory as Villanova basketball, right? Like, we started out, we were like, okay, we got a lot going on. We got the Tyler Burton news that he's transferring over. That was one of our hottest episodes that we had out. People were clamoring for content. And we had Colin and Jermaine on. Those guys kick butt, and they're going to be in the NBA this upcoming season. How about Jermaine 00 on Houston? I was like, I don't know if I love that. And then I saw the Mano, 00 at the end. I was like, I'm all in. Give me a jersey. Give me a Mano 00 jersey.
Creative, real creative.
Yeah.
That's real creative. Yeah, man, but I'm definitely happy, and I'm ready for the season to kick off. I'm tired of waiting. Even though I feel like this offseason has gone by much faster than last offseason, I'm ready to get the season started. I'm ready to, because the next thing now that everybody's saying is, okay, of course, I'm not going to say Nova fans. I'm going to say Nova Twitter. Nova Twitter can be hard to deal with. So, like, now the thing is, okay, well, Neptune couldn't recruit, so now we've got some recruits, and now it's, okay, well, Neptune has to learn how to coach now. So I'm just ready for the season to start, so we could just shut up all that noise and just, like, focus on, like, the players and the wins and losses.
Yes, sir. Let's get her done. It's right around the corner, man. Literally a month away at this point. So
yeah.
The timer, the countdown is on, and we're going to continue to get you guys content. We're going to continue to bring guests on to preview the Big East, talk Nova hoops, talk St. John's, Marquette, UConn, Creighton. I mean, it's just a blast to have this many relevant programs, this many relevant coaches and transfers and recruits in just one conference. And I loved how Raf was able to talk about the non-conference a little bit as well. We love talking about that and how much we love ramping up that November and December basketball intensity to get ready for Big East play in late December, early January. And then all of a sudden it's March and it's Big East tournament time and everyone's at MSG. And I know we're both going to be there as well, so I'm looking forward to that. But we've got a long way to go before then. A lot of great times with you and I bringing guests on. Hopefully we'll get some players involved as well. We'll talk to our guy Mike Sheridan and see if we can make that happen. But I'm just really fired up right now. Raf had me going there. It was pretty funny that I asked him about the Catholic schools, and he's like, "Oh, you're killing me, man." So I thought, I was like, all right, we got to pivot a little bit. But then he told us some great stories as well. So
Yeah.
the guy is just an absolute walking, living legend. And I'm just so happy he was able to jump on with us, A-Ray.
Shout out to Raf.
That's right. So, I mean, just really can't wait. We got a month to go before things kick off against American. And we're going to be watching. I'm going to be glued to the TV with this Champions Classic going on. Early season tournaments are going to be so much fun. I wish we could go down to the Bahamas for the Battle for Atlantis, but, that's a whole nother thing. We'll see about that. But
That would be great. That would be great. But yeah, definitely you could find me on Twitter, A-Ray for 3, Raynin threes. And what about you, OC?
yeah, MJOC_IV is where you'll find the personal, and Raynin threes. Raynin, R-A-Y for A-Ray, NIN.3S. And A-Ray, we got our merch coming in, man. It's finally here. We got the T-shirts. We're waiting on the hats. They were shipped out today. So I'm hoping we get them early next week, and we'll put them on sale for everybody, hopefully within the next 10 days or so. So
Yeah, that would be big.
finally waiting for it, and after jumping through hoops to get it done, we are here. I'm repping the hat. I got navy, we got white, we got black, we have gray. I mean, we went all out for you guys, and I know you guys are gonna enjoy it. Anyone can hop on, right? We got T-shirts, hats, we're gonna get some polos, we're gonna get beanies for when it gets colder, and it's just gonna be a ton of fun, man. So,
Just wait till y'all feel the fit of that hat. I love it.
oh
Wear
yeah,
it all the time. Seriously.
everybody's like, yo, well, give me that hat. I'm like, soon, it's coming soon. I promise.
This is not a marketing pitch. That hat is comfortable.
Yeah. Everyone's like, whoa, A-Ray's just saying that. Nah, it's legit.
It's comfortable.
It's legit. Yeah, man. All right, well, hey, A-Ray, always a pleasure, my friend, and we'll do this again real soon. And we have another special guest coming up for you guys as well.
OC, holla at your boy. And that's another episode of Raynin threes. Wrap it up.
Yes, sir. With Alan Ray, I'm your host, Mike O'Connell. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace out.
Peace.